Oh my God.
Welcome to the show.
Was not expecting it. Oh man.
BroMob, we're your hosts, Chad and Brian. Today, I don't think that's even the right date.
That's not. It's probably. Oh God.
Nope.
Today's the 29th of September.
Yep. We're so unprepared.
Slash the 30th of September is when you're listening. We're recording on the 29th.
Yes.
Oh man, this is rough.
No. We're off to a good start. BroMob, I promise you, we have a great I'm squeaking already. We have a great show lined up for you. We have our buy, keep, sell segment, week 4 streamers, love, like, hate, whole bunch of information. And we got a little surprisey guest.
Yeah, sexy one.
To a surprisey wisey. What? Don't know what a surprisey wisey is.
Talking like an absolute baby.
But what?
Talking like an absolute baby. Absolutely terrible. Oh, I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm ready for this sexy, slick, sexy surprise. Not only sexy, it's slick.
Very big slick. Yeah, I like the slickness. What? BroMob. We have a very special guest, as we mentioned a few, maybe even like 5 or 10 episodes ago. It's been a while now. We brought a writer onto our show, and we are very, very, very excited to bring onto the show Zach, or as you guys may know him, at Juan Fan Football. Zach, welcome to the show, man.
What's up, boys? Glad to be here.
We're happy to have you, man.
That intro really messed me up, Chad. So big props there. You threw me off.
Yeah, let me give you a little BroMob. Let me just mention something. Before we started the show, they dared me to come into the show with something new. Okay. Little did they know that I was going to hit them with something very new.
Spanish conquistador. He comes in with just sword in the air, riding a horse into battle. Did not expect that. Nope, you're absolutely right.
It was all those Ricky Ricardo videos that you were watching, Brian, that got him in the mood.
Man, I love me some Ricky.
That's the funny thing.
Yeah. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Great show. Excited to have you. Zach, give us a little just intro to who you are.
Yeah, tell us how to tickle one's bottom side. What?
Mainly just who are you? I don't know you.
Well, we know each other a little bit. Me and Chad met in college through one of my good friends and your good friend, Mike. And then we started being good friends after that. Met Brian through Chad. We got into a fantasy football league together, and now I am, sick brag here, the only 3-0 person in that league right now. Go Zane Pillow Talk for the win.
One. Yeah, playing me.
But yeah,
about to lose.
Well, we'll see.
Good sick comeback, man. I liked it. Oh, we'll see. All right,
you gotta keep modesty.
Yeah,
super humble.
Yeah, very humble. The best, the greatest, wonderful writer. We're glad to have you on. We're glad to have you on the team. I'm holding back a burp currently. Brian, can you take over?
Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. I will tell you that. Stepped right into this like it was no big deal. How you like that, BroMob? Because let's be honest, I'm the one that should probably be running this ship anyway. The one that you want to listen to. I'm the king of the crop, the bingity bop. Anyway, be sure to follow along after the show by following us on Twitter and Instagram, BroMob, at FF Bros Podcast. And also, you can check out our TikTok page at Fantasy Football Bros. That's where it's actually happening. Not going to lie to you. I mean, Twitter's cool. Let's be honest. Like, Instagram is kind of like Facebook. It's starting to die, but it's still cool too. TikTok is like the kingity crop of, is that a word? Kingity crop, Chad?
Is it the bippity bop?
Juan?
Like you said before?
No, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay. Yep. Kingity cop, sleegity slop, flippity flop. Man, I don't know why, but I just got like this craving for apple pie, man, after last week's pod. Anyway, so BroMob, get over to at Fantasy Football Bros on TikTok. It is the place to be. All kinds of cool stuff on there. We're hitting it hard. Also, be sure to get over to thefantasyfootballbros.com for all kinds of news, articles, and more. Chad, get this freaking show started.
Yeah, about damn time.
Let's do it.
Talk too much. Let's get going. We're going to talk the news and, got a lot to talk about. So let's do this. Thank you,
Keanu. Keanu's just killing me.
A lot of stuff to talk about here. So the number one thing, probably the hottest bit of news, too hot trot, too hot
tub.
What? Two teams have been suspending. I'm not even talking right now. Two teams have suspended in-person activities to Saturday, with multiple players testing positive for COVID-19. Those players were on the Titans. There were 3 players and actually 5 staff members, so 8 in total. And the players actually came out. It's none. I don't want to make this sound less important than it is. It's no fantasy relevant people. So there's that information. But it's concerning because they have COVID. But it's not concerning because they're not going to affect fantasy. So, or at least for right now. I mean, the fact that teams aren't going to be in the facility until Saturday, that does scare me a little bit, and I'll kind of talk about that here later on in the show with a big name player, guy that I like and has some relevance in my world. But not being able to practice and be in facility until Saturday, especially having to play a game on Sunday, could really affect a player's outcome, multiple players' outcome, a team's outcome. It's just a whole lot of things kind of going on there. What do you guys kind of think about this?
Yeah, so teams to kind of keep your eyes on. It's the Vikings and the Titans were the 2 teams, and then the Vikings host Houston or play against Houston, and then Titans against Pittsburgh. So if this does turn into kind of more of an outbreak, let's hope not. Just kind of stay on your toes for this weekend if you guys and those. Let's hope the NFL does a little bit better job than the MLB did when the Marlins had their little breakout early in the season. Hopefully they learned a good lesson from that, but yeah.
I think I read too, Chad, and that the teams or the NFL is looking at maybe pushing those games to Monday. So it looks like they're being flexible with the scheduling to give the teams at least 2 days. It'd be no different than probably a Thursday night football game. You'd practice Tuesday, Wednesday, play Thursday. So, if you can get 2 days of practice in, I mean, here's my thing with Thursday night football games. They're typically, I don't know, I've always found them to be sloppy games. You get 2 days to prepare. I try not to play streamers on days like that. So you got Vikings, Titans, Vikings and Titans are the ones that are affected here. Houston and Pittsburgh would be also affected if the games were pushed. But Houston and Pittsburgh can practice, right? I mean, it's not affecting their abilities to practice. So it's a huge disadvantage to the Titans and the Vikings. So I mean, this is 2020 football. We just got to get used to it.
Yep. What I'm not used to is you being able to read, Brian. Actually finding out that
yeah, I'm not it's not my strong suit.
Yeah.
But what is?
I usually have to do a lot of drawing for you.
Caricature. I believe it's a bird. No, Brian, that is the Titans logo. All right, fair enough.
Moving on. Literally moving on. We're going to talk about Chris Godwin now, who suffered a hamstring injury, could miss multiple weeks. It's actually a big blow. He just got back from missing a game, came back, started looking good, showing kind of that connection with Tom Brady. Lose him to the game. Mike Evans ends up having 2 touchdowns in the game on only 2 catches, really, just a 1-yard catch in the end zone. So Tom Brady came after the game saying that he needs to get the ball to Evans more. So, I mean, with Chris Godwin gone, what better opportunity for Evans than now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 6 targets for Godwin this past week. So if he's not there, that's going to get dispersed a bit. So you would think, I think Mike Evans had two targets, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, triple 2. So I would think that is probably a stat line that's going to improve, at least from a target standpoint. I am one that is firmly in the category of need more touchdowns. 2's not enough.
Need more catchies.
Catchy
More
balls.
turkeys. More turkeys.
Yeah, I think this could it could go beyond Evans too. Keep your eyes on Scotty Miller and Justin Watson. I think the tight ends draw some intrigue too. Maybe they get a little bit of uptick in targets, but when Godwin was out in week 2, Brady only had 217 yards and a touchdown against the Panthers. So I think it hurts him quite a bit.
Yeah, it's tough to know who to roster though at the tight end position on that team. It's like, Howard is intriguing to me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm out of the Gronk. I'm out of the Gronk camp. Like at this point, I know he had a decent game this past week. If you're a Gronk owner, I'm trying to sell him as much as possible after this past week, but I don't know anybody that's going to buy him. I just don't want any shares. I want nothing. I have nothing. I want nothing. I actually don't want anything to do with tight ends on that team. But if you're strapped and you need one, I mean, maybe Jordan Howard is a flyer. Was a question mark, Chad? I mean,
okay.
Is that a question? I mean, I felt like I left it with a question mark, but
I don't think you did.
Okay. All right. Well, my bad. I thought I threw a question mark in there. I'll just pronounce the question mark from now on. That way, I'll actually pronounce it.
Can you just draw a question mark on a piece of paper and hold it up for me?
Yep.
To make things easier.
My best here.
All right, we got a lot to talk about. Let's move on. Tariq Cohen out with actually not even suspected anymore the ACL tear. He's now on IR, bound to miss the season. This is terrible news for a guy he's an electric player. He's good in PPR. Brian's cheering this on. I don't know why. Never cheering.
I'm not. It's terrible. So, I have David Montgomery. I'm sorry.
Okay. But that is big news for David Montgomery. Managers out there who have him on the team, he's going to get an uptick in carries. He's going to get an uptick in most likely the passing game, and that's really what helps in PPR. I like what I'm seeing. I just don't. Brian, you and I talked about this the other day. I just don't know if David Montgomery is a great or like really good running back. I think he's just a mediocre running back at best, behind an offensive line that's not the best offensive line in the league.
Well, we said we don't know if he's a great running back. And I agreed with you there. I don't think he's a great running back, but I do think he's a good running back. So I think the team has not given him, except for end of season last year, which is a different team, I feel like. But I want to see a full season, a full workload. He is leaner, faster, seems a little bit faster this year. I just want to see more before I make that decision. But I do think he's a good running back. I think he can do well. Bears have a legitimate quarterback now in Nick Foles. I want to see what that looks like for a few weeks. I mean, I don't know about you, but as soon as Tariq Cohen went out, I noticed an immediate change in how, also with Nick Foles in there, how David Montgomery was being used. It looked like he had a little bit more of a spark. Defenses had to, I guess, give Nick Foles the respect he deserves, I guess, a little bit in the passing game, because he was pushing the ball deeper down the field more accurately, specifically. And so that's one thing that Trubisky just doesn't have. He doesn't have the deep ball accuracy that Nick Foles has. And I think defenses will have to respect that a little bit, which should allow David Montgomery to have better running lanes and a little bit better success. And that's what I'm hopeful for. So we'll see over the next week or two.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if he actually does get an uptick in usage. It's not like Cohen had a lot of work to begin with, so I don't know if that transfers to David Montgomery at all or what does. But it's definitely interesting. I mean, he's I can't even remember the guy who's behind them. Ryan Nall, maybe, is that his name? I don't even know.
I'll tell you who it is. Cordero Patterson.
Yeah.
Used as a running back. He's going to get used in the passing game and those little screen passes. They were already using them before that. So I think there's some intrigue there for Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, that's the thing with Tariq that, not getting the carries. He had 2 carries in this game last week. He had 5 the week before that. But his on-field percentage, you're talking 30% of the time he's on the field. So, if he's on the field for 30% of the snaps, and then you add in, Patterson, who's probably on the field, I'll look it up, but he's probably on the field another 15, 20% of the snaps. Then, that's going to limit the ability for 14% of the time Patterson's on the field. So you're talking 45% of the snaps, Patterson and Tariq Cohen are on the field. That limits David Montgomery's ability, and it also makes him one-dimensional. Teams know right away, oh, okay, he's out here, they're probably going to run, right? Now, it's a little harder to know. And that's the thing about Matt Nagy's usage of David Montgomery that I have not liked over the last 2 years is it's very predictable. When Cohen's out there, you clearly know they're passing the ball usually. When Patterson's out there, you're pretty sure they're probably gonna run the ball with him. And they'll use him in the passing game a little bit. David Montgomery's out there usually running the ball. So maybe now they become a little less predictable, and that helps maybe open things up a little bit for David Montgomery. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I don't like is that we're talking about David Montgomery this much. Let's move on. Dallas Goedert, ankle injury, and in the same game, Deshaun Jackson with a hamstring injury. So, more weapons going down. I wouldn't really call them weapons. They weren't doing. Dallas Goedert was having some rough games before he had that really good game. Deshaun Jackson was nobody really out there. So, no weapons really for Carson Wentz yet again, even though the team went out and they drafted wide receiver early, even though the team went out and they pulled in wide receiver in the offseason. He can't catch a break. He's also not looking good. The offensive line is terrible. And the Philadelphia Eagles are just not good right now, which I'm happy because I'm a Cowboys fan. Philadelphia fans of the show, we love you, but we don't love your team. So, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
This is good. No bueno. Good for Zach Ertz.
Yeah, Greg Ward too. If you're in desperate need for a wide receiver, Wentz is looking bad, but right now, ball can't go to Zach Ertz and Miles Sanders every time. Greg Ward, he had some outbursts last year. Maybe it happens again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one I just want to talk about it real quick. There was a player just picked up by them, and that's Hakeem Butler, who was a very touted big receiver with the Arizona Cardinals, who was recently dropped by them because they just have way too much depth. Thank you, Bill O'Brien, says the Arizona Cardinals. But anyway, Hakeem Butler, very talented, very big, good in the end zone, much better than what we're seeing out of JJ Arcega-Whiteside. I think the team is kind of moving on from him because he's no bueno, really. See what I did there? I said Arcega and then follow that up with no bueno. Both Spanish.
Yeah. Clever.
Ortega, like the taco sauce Ortega. Like that's what I do, a taco salad with some taco meat, some Doritos, and throw some cheese, pickled jalps, and some freaking Ortega in there.
That really struck a nerve with me. I'm so hungry right now, dude.
Right? I'm about to just stop recording and go eat.
All right, time out.
All right, we're going to turn this off when it's done. So bad news for the Eagles. Bad news for the Seahawks, who Chris Carson also went down with a sprained knee. It's worth keeping an eye on him during practice this week. He may play, he may not play. It looked pretty nasty when you watched the play happen. It was one of those typical tackles. When you're taught to tackle, you go down to the ground and you spin just to make sure that you got the player down at the ground. And he spun that leg up real hard. It looked nasty. So we'll see what happens with Chris Carson. I know this strikes a nerve with you a little bit there, Zach, in our dynasty, but it's kind of what happens with Chris Carson every year.
Reports are he should be fine. All the ligaments were intact. But if he does end up being out, Carlos Hyde is an option, I suppose. If he's out for an extended amount of time, Rashad Penny should be back at some point here soonish, I think. And he looked really good when he got carries last year. So maybe take a shot.
Yeah, Rashad Penny's a really interesting pickup for like mid-October or the end of October, which I believe is when he's supposed to be back, or at least practicing again. So he's worth a flyer.
What do you think about
you were to miss extended time?
What do you think about Travis Homer? I noticed too, like he was used a little bit once Carson went down. Saw some life in his run game a little bit. Do you think in deeper leagues he's probably somebody to maybe roster, or do you just? Are you in desperation mode if you're rostering Travis Homer at this point?
Yeah, I think that'd be more of a desperation play. Carson and Carlos Hyde got the bulk of the carries. Homer would just kind of fill in when needed. So I think Hyde would get the bulk if Carson misses time. But you never know. I mean, it's Carlos Hyde versus Travis Homer. Take a shot on one, I suppose.
Yeah, Travis Homer reminds me of, if you look at the Packers backfield and you've got Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and then Tyler Ervin. I think Travis Homer is Tyler Ervin, who's just never going to have a significant role, but he has his role, right? He's not going to disappear. So that's what I see there, and he's not fantasy relevant for you. Moving on, we got a couple. Ooh, Brian, your face is terrible.
Thank you.
Gage, I don't know why. You got to fix it.
I mean, thank you. I mean,
it's not a thank you.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
Congrats.
Russell Gage, concussion. Deontay Johnson, concussion. So wide receivers going out like crazy. Deontay Johnson, man, he was getting targeted like crazy before this injury, and he was starting to look like one of Ben Roethlisberger's favorite targets. I think he actually was leading the team in targets over Juju Smith-Schuster before this injury had happened. So this is big. It's big for Juju, and it hurts for all of those Deontay Johnson managers out there. Concussions tend to want to come back at times, especially at receivers who get hit a bunch. Deontay Johnson likes to go underneath and get some of those catches like Juju does and stuff. But I mean, Russell Gage, I liked a lot of what he was doing already. He's a slot guy, so I'm worried about concussions reoccurring again for him, just because that slot position, you're going to get hit by those linebackers that are like 300 times bigger than you are. I don't know why you two are laughing. Just keep it down over there.
I ain't laughing.
I was thinking about something. What do you want from me, man?
Stop thinking.
I didn't do nothing.
Talking in chat, aren't you? I see it.
No.
Schoolgirls. So concussions, plaguing players, not liking it. Not going to talk too much about it. It's just, it hurts. Let's move on. John Brown, last injury to talk about here, injured his calf and missed most of the game this past week. It's worth keeping an eye on, because if he were to miss any time, so Stefan Diggs, of course, gets an uptick there. I don't think he really sees more playing time. He just stays on the field and he gets maybe more targets. But I really like Cole Beasley with John Brown leaving. He's going to get a ton of targets there in the slot, which he already gets on third down anyway. I see him getting used more on second down with John Brown being gone. I'm a fan of Cole Beasley if John Brown were to miss any time.
You know who I'm a fan of in this situation? I'm a fan of Josh Allen and his legs. Okay. Because John Brown means less passing, more running.
Maybe.
I think
thought maybe you like the legs.
Oh, also, I was looking at John Brown. I was looking at the notes, John Brown injured calf, and I thought to myself, man, I did a workout the other day and my calves were super sore and I could barely walk. And so I thought to myself, was that an injury, or are they just sore, or am I also just a wuss?
Oh, I'm Brian. I work out. Sick brag, dude.
Thanks, man.
Oh,
Thanks.
I'm Brian. I'm like,
when I said workout, I meant went for a walk around the block.
Word. All right, BroMob, that's going to be it for our news this week. Let's move on to our new segment, Buy, Keep, Sell.
What about his two friends, George Washington and George Washington?
Every time with the explosion. Every time.
I have no idea why.
George Washington.
All right, BroMob. In this new segment, we are going to be talking about players that we should be going after and trying to buy off of other managers. Brian, please stop. Gosh.
No, I won't know.
I don't know why we ever went with live video and cameras.
It's just my favorite part. If you don't watch us on the YouTube, bro, it's a mistake. I'll tell you right now.
It's a treat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, treat or a treat?
We're talking about football.
Both.
And right behind Zach is a baseball thing. So
I'm also wearing a Twins jersey because postseason, here we go, even though they lost, but
Flash,
whatever.
baby. Get on that
Ooh.
Marvel. DC, by the way.
talk about the Brewers with the losing record making it in. Yeah, buddy.
Ooh. Anyways, football.
Cubs.
Football. We're back. New segment, Buy, Keep, Sell. We're going to be talking about 6 different players and talking about whether or not we're going to be buying that player, we're going to be keeping that player on our rosters, or if we're going to be selling them. So pretty simple. Brian, I don't need to go over the rules again, do I?
What?
Okay.
Oh,
Yep.
I wasn't listening.
Always he doesn't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
Moving
listen.
into our first name, BroMob. That is Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers, running back who has just been going off. He's got 5 touchdowns on the year. It's 1 less than Alvin Kamara, who leads the league with 6 touchdowns. Look, this is surprising to me. I thought for sure this team would be spreading the love around a little bit more to Jamal Williams, which they are, but not in the end zone. Maybe spreading the ball around to to AJ Dillon there in the end zone as well.
Where's the Dylan drop? How dare you?
Is the best. But Aaron Jones, let's talk about whether or not we're going to be buying, keeping, or selling this guy. Brian, Zach, what do you guys think? Brian, I'll start with you.
Thank you. I'm gonna keep. That is all. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm gonna keep.
Explanation.
Here's why. Let me go through the exact reason why. So he's crushing it right now. I get it. However, I will tell you this. Let me just go through the playoff schedule for one Aaron Jones. It makes you want to maybe poo your pants and also take a shower. What? So week 14 at Detroit, 6th easiest opponent for running backs currently. Week 15 at home versus the Carolina Panthers, the 2nd easiest team against running backs so far this season. And then week 16, that's right, championship week at home against the Tennessee Titans, who are the 8th easiest so far against running backs. That is an unbelievable fantasy football schedule in the playoffs. Not only that, but it looks ridiculous the whole season. Here's week 6 on. At Tampa Bay, middle of the road. At Houston, one of the 4th easiest. Versus Minnesota, 9th easiest. At San Francisco, tough. That's a really tough game, but he'll still do well for some odd reason. Versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, middle of the road. Then it's at Indy versus Chicago versus Philadelphia, and then into the playoffs. He's gonna murk all season long. So I'm not letting go of Aaron Jones, and I'm trying to buy him if I can, but it's gonna take a lot.
You know, historically, I've kind of been an Aaron Jones fader. With the split usage they had with Jamal Williams, and then how the draft went this year, and then I'm a Vikings fan, so that kind of plays into it a little bit. I thought it was just a matter of time before he was an afterthought with the Packers. Seemed like they were gonna not use him anymore. But it's tough to ignore the usage that he's gotten so far. Brian, you alluded to it earlier. The other running backs have combined for 33 touches, or Chad, you alluded to it earlier, whatever. The other running backs have combined to 33 touches, while Aaron Jones is at 60. But aside from his huge week 2, he actually hasn't been as crazy efficient as he normally is. He ran for 4.1 yards per carry in week 1 and 4.3 in week 3, which those are respectable numbers, just not what he's normally been at. But that touchdown upside seems like it's carrying over from last year. I have a tough time trying to sell that. So I think I'm a keep on him.
Yeah, I'm a buy and keep as well. I'm trying to buy him in multiple leagues right now, and nobody's biting. I'm not giving nothing for him. I know he's worth a lot, so I'm trying to give a whole bunch, and I'm just getting no's all over the place. Historically speaking, you're talking about the efficiency. We're talking about a guy who's averaged in his career over 5 yards per carry. It reminds me of Jamal Charles, especially with the touchdown upside as well. So I'm keeping all day long, and wherever I don't have him, I'm buying. Let's move into the next name. Camathan Newton. What? Cam Newton.
Fig Newton
quarterback. Look, he didn't have himself a good game week 3. But he did have himself great games in week 1 and 2. The type of games that we were used to seeing Cam Newton have, those multiple rushing touchdown games, those efficient in the air. So he looks to be benefiting from having Bill Belichick back, kind of just grooming him a little bit back into what he used to be his MVP caliber. From week 3, are we worried a little bit, guys? Are we saying, should we get rid of him, or should we be holding on to Cam Newton?
No, I'm a keep on Cam right now. It seems like he's back to that same Cam that he was before the injury bug got him a couple of years ago. And besides, you mentioned besides last week's dud, he has looked awesome. That's kind of what he does, right? He's a top 5 quarterback for most of the weeks, and then he'll throw in a few duds where he's just a regular quarterback for some of them. Personally, I like to keep that top 5 upside and just take the duds. Just, cut your losses. If you're a player that or a manager that wants a more consistent quarterback, you could turn Cam into a top 10 guy that's going to be consistent for you, like a Joe Burrow or Ryan Tannehill plus more people. Both of those guys are fringe outside top 10, whatever. But I like to keep Cam in this situation. Give me that upside.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy him. I think he's a perfect buy candidate. Most of the teams that drafted Cam Newton likely drafted him super late in the draft. His ADP was deep. No one saw what was happening or what's happened this year. No one saw that happening with him. I think there was the thought of maybe he could resurrect himself there, but no one really knew. There's a lot of risk, and he has blown the doors off the place. I would argue that probably out there, most teams that drafted him as their second quarterback. And they're likely rolling with, guys out there like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or even Josh Allen for that matter. So if you're a team that doesn't have you're struggling at quarterback, Cam Newton's a perfect guy to go grab, mainly because, look, again, if you're going to make a playoff stretch here, week 14 at the Rams, week 15 at Miami, week 16 at home against Buffalo, likely a game that's going to determine who wins the division. I like that playoff run. I think that's going to be huge. So I think Cam blows it up to finish the season. I think Cam Newton's going to be a lot of people's league winners this year.
Yeah, very well could be. So I'm going to switch mine up a little bit. So I'm keeping Cam. And Brian, you kind of alluded to what I was going to talk about, and that is Cam is likely your QB2 on your team. And so I'm at the strategy where I'm going to hold Cam and I'm going to sell the bigger name. So if I have Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to sell Aaron Rodgers and I'm going to hold on to Cam, and I'm going to try and bring in maybe some tight end help if I don't have it. I'm going to try and bring in some wide receiver or running back depth because you're going to need it this year with all the injuries that's been going on. We're only in week 4 right now, and half the league is dead, it seems like. So I'd be selling some of the bigger names and holding on to Cam Newton. I think that's what I would be doing in this situation.
I like that.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next name. We've got a guy who is a rookie. He wasn't a big name until a person was traded from the team, and now he is sweeping the fantasy world by a storm, and that is James Robinson of the Jacksonville Jaguars, running back. Look, this kid's running out like crazy. He's looking good. He's feeling good. What are we feeling? Are we going to keep? Are we buying? Are we selling? Are we fading? What's going on here?
The question is he smelling good? All right. And I think I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm selling hard because
are you gonna say you're smelling?
I'm smelling what he's dealing, and I don't like the future. He's got a decent run here. Week 4, Cincinnati, Houston, Detroit, coming up here, week 4, 5, and 6. But then his schedule gets tougher, and playoffs look brutal. Week 14 at Tennessee, home against Tennessee. Week 15 at Baltimore. I don't want that in the playoffs. And then week 16 championship week, he's at home against the Bears. The Bears haven't really been all that great against the run so far, but it's still the Bears defense. I want better matchups than that. The guy is undrafted. He's not just a rookie. He was an undrafted rookie. So I mean, look, you landed gold. Here's your chance. Go to the team that has Christian McCaffrey and ask them, try to see what you can get for this guy. If you are deep at running back, if you have this guy, you likely have him. He's likely a deep piece of your team. Go see if you can upgrade and, upgrade a wide receiver, upgrade another running back, package him with maybe another running back or a wide receiver, and see if you can go grab a guy.
If the Christian McCaffrey owner is going to trade you Christian McCaffrey for James Robinson.
No.
Okay.
I don't know what you're
Time out. Back up. I'm saying that owner is likely desperate right now for a running back. They're not going to give you Christian McCaffrey. I would know. Okay. Because I would rather go winless the rest of the season than give you Christian McCaffrey. So that ain't happening. But you could likely upgrade a wide receiver. If, like I said, if you package Robinson with, say, I don't know, like a wide receiver that's overperformed also, you might get somebody in return that is pretty favorable off the team that has Christian McCaffrey because they're looking for somebody to carry them through the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
James Robinson is my dude. I'm in 3 leagues. I have him in all 3. Drafted him in 2. Got him in free agency in ours. I love this guy, and he's looked great so far. Right? Like,
yes.
It says something when a rookie shows out in a primetime game like he did on Thursday. He was the lone bright spot on that team. It seemed. Fair. But Miami had the lead, and he was still getting used. True. I think that's the thing I like most is he's seen it increased usage in the passing attack every week so far. He started with 1 reception, 3 receptions, 6 receptions. They want to get this kid the ball. Saying all that, I think I'm a sell too. Brian, you hit the nail on the head. He's got 3 great matchups coming up, so maybe keep him for those 3 and build up as much value as you can in him. But you got to sell him at some point when it's just sky high. See what you can get.
Yeah, I agree. I've already started selling. It's probably too early because I didn't get much for him. I don't know. I wouldn't call it much, but I mean, I probably could have gotten more. So I'm selling.
Yep.
Mo Alley Cox. I said that wrong. Cox.
Well, this is we got to be careful what we say around here. Mo Alley Cox, Chad, is his name. And he is a tight end. Did you know that? He's that
I did.
Mo Alley Cox has a tight end. I mean, is a tight end. I meant. So I did not mince my words. Thank you.
Mo, I actually muted him. Is the funny thing. Mo Alley Cox. I'm gonna start it off. I'm selling hard. Look, eventually Jack Doyle's coming back. Mo Alley Cox has looked good. He has been doing his thing. Phillip Rivers loves to throw to tight ends. And I just see Jack Doyle coming in there, ruining everything that's possible for this kid. They've been calling for a breakout season for him for like 2 years now in Indy. It's looking like it could have been this year, but so long as Jack Doyle is out there, Doyle rules, is taking over the world, Mo Alley Cox ain't doing anything after that. So I like him for those weeks because Jack Doyle is bound to get injured again because he always gets injured. He just misses season all the time. So I like him whenever that injury happens, but I'm not willing to keep him on my roster, taking up a roster spot in the meantime.
I agree. I have nothing else to add.
I got something to add. Jack Doyle was back last week. He had 32 snaps. It's not a lot, obviously. I'm a buy on Mo Alley Cox, and I did not think I would be saying that today. Athletic tight ends find a way to produce at some point. And I think he found his point. I mean, he ran over my Vikings in week 2 when Jack Doyle is out. Last week, he had 3 targets on 3 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown with Jack Doyle back. They lost Paris Campbell this year. T.Y. has not looked good. I think Frank Reich is a smart dude. He's going to give his terrible quarterback as many offensive weapons as he can. And I think Mo Alley Cox is a good weapon to have. And I'm betting you can get him cheap because he's still really ripe. So I'd go buy him for cheap. Why not? Have some fun with him.
Have some fun with them. Got it. Interesting.
How would one
Moving
have
on.
fun with him? That's my question.
No, we're not discussing it.
Nope.
Oh, all
let's go
right.
next.
Moving on.
DJ Moore, wide receiver of the Carolina Panthers. Look, he's been getting targets, right? Weeks 1 and 2, he had over 20 targets accumulated. This past week, he only had 4 targets, which was a downtick from what we've been seeing. But he did get 2 catches out of that. His entire production of 60 yards came off of those in I think it was the 4th quarter. So fantasy managers out there were a little worried. I know, because I'm one of them in multiple leagues. I was worried, but it's kind of been the same thing with him. I think in week 2 it was the same outcome. Like they started using him towards the end of the game as well. He started accumulating those. I like call them garbage time points, those junk time points, whatever you want to call them. Still points, still get them. I like the targets. I just want them to go up from the 4. Robbie Anderson's been angering me. So in terms of buy, keep, sell, I'm trying to I want to keep DJ Moore because I know what can happen down the road. I know he could just start blowing up and get more connection with Teddy Bridgewater. This is a new quarterback, a new offensive system in a season that there was no offseason, right? So it might just take some time to acclimate to all of that. And I kind of want to be there for when it does acclimate because DJ Moore is a talented yard after the catch specialist. He takes things over like that. So I want to kind of keep him for that. But otherwise, I might be selling. Just because I'm looking for more points out of that position if it doesn't start looking like it's going up in like a week or 2.
So I completely disagree with you. And let me kind of go over why. So DJ Moore has yet to face a defense that is not a top 10 defense yet this season. The Raiders defense has been legit against wide receivers this year. So has Tampa Bay's. It's no joke. They were on the road against Tampa Bay too. That's a tough matchup. And not only that, but on the road against Tampa Bay, he had 13 targets for 120 yards passing. So that's not an easy feat for a guy against that Tampa Bay defense. As a matter of fact, I believe he's one of only 2 receivers that have had 100 yards against that defense this year. So, and then week 3, look, the Chargers secondary is probably even better than Tampa Bay's. I think LA Chargers secondary is legit. These are all top 10 defenses against wide receivers this year. Here's why, look, and it might be another rough week this week. Arizona's secondary has been very good against wide receivers this year. They're second best. However, here's why I don't want to pivot. Week 12 at Minnesota, 4th easiest. Week 14 versus the Denver Broncos, 5th easiest. Week 15, Green Bay. Week 16, Washington. That's a pretty good run through the playoffs and up to the playoffs. So, and I think the road is going to get a little easier for him. This is a guy that has 26 targets on the season. It's not DJ Moore's problem isn't that he's not getting utilized. He's on the field for roughly 90% of the snaps. So he's got 90% of the time he's on the field, and then he's getting thrown to like crazy, 26 targets. Those targets are going to turn into production at some point when he finds favorable matchups. I'm keeping him, and as a matter of fact, if I'm going to try to buy him cheap because likely what you just said, the production has not been what you're expecting, and you're probably looking at Robbie Anderson going, "Oh, that's Bridgewater's favorite guy is Robbie Anderson now." No, it's just that Robbie Anderson's getting the second. He's the less of the 2 receivers. He's not getting the number 1 cornerback on the team. And he just played 3 in a row, really good defenses against the pass. So I think better days ahead. He could even sneak out a decent game, in yardage or actually grab his first touchdown this week against Arizona. I would temper your expectations with him, but if he's getting targeted 6, 7, 8, 9 times in a game, that could turn into a touchdown. So I like DJ Moore.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. I'm a buy on him too. You mentioned the matchups. He's also got the Falcons twice, New Orleans, the Chiefs. They're going to be in negative game scripts and are going to have to air out the ball. You'd think they're going to get their number 1. Well, if Christian McCaffrey comes back, their number 1B or number 2 offensive weapon the ball a lot more. So I'd go out and buy him.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That one would hope.
Mhm.
Moving on to the last name, Keenan Allen, wide receiver for the LA Chargers. It looked nasty with Tyrod Taylor there. Injury happens. Fluke injury. Crazy injury. Stabbed in the lung. What?
I'm sorry, I mean to laugh. I'm not laughing at the injury. It's just the way you said that. Freak injury, stabbed in the lung. Who gets stabbed in the lung?
It's
Only Tyrod Taylor gets stabbed in the lung. I'm sorry. Like he's just like
game.
he's getting ready for this game, and all of a sudden somebody just runs by and goes, "I hate you!" Stab. He's like, "Oh, my lung." I'm sorry. I'm not poking fun. It's a terrible situation. I feel bad for.
It sounds like
it cracks me up. It cracks me up. I'm not gonna lie. It's freaking funny. All right.
You're poking lungs.
I'm poking fun at it. Get it? Get it? Get it?
Yes,
Yeah.
we got it.
Okay.
I made it. Regurgitating.
Man.
But with Justin Herbert coming to town, the Sherbert Swirl himself. What? Did I just make up a new nickname?
Oh my
You did.
god,
That's good.
Oh,
dude!
genius.
The Sherbert.
Door weeks. It's doing me well. Keenan Allen has looked great. So this connection with the rookie quarterback has looked good. His fantasy production has exploded because of it. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. How about you guys?
Am I making it up that Anthony Lynn came out and said that a player shouldn't lose their job because of injury? Or did I take that out of context or something?
He may have, and if he did, then he needs to be slapped.
Well, that's so. I think it's fair, It kind of stinks that someone loses their job because they got stabbed in the lung by their doctor. But Herbert has looked good, and you're right that Keenan Allen looked really good with him. But if Tyrod comes back, you guys know how I feel about the Chargers and Keenan Allen. I'm a sell on Keenan Allen. If Taylor does come back and take that role back, I don't want any part of that offense, and I'd want to sell the last 2 weeks and just get him off my team.
So I agree and I disagree with you. Is that possible?
Yes.
Okay, good. Here's why I agree. I agree with you that if the what did you call him? The orange sherbet?
Sherbert Swirl.
Sherbert Swirl. It's even better. If Sherbert Swirl is not tossing him, if he's not tossing him the cone,
Scoop. Nothing but scoop.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to make this work, dude. If he's not throwing him the ball, Keenan Allen's gonna have a tough rest of the season. His schedule looks absolutely brutal up to their bye. However, after that, it gets really easy again. At Denver, at Buffalo, versus the New England Patriots, versus the Atlanta Falcons, at the Raiders, that's tough, and then championship week versus Denver again. Those are easy matchups for him, and he's a veteran dude. Here's the other thing that I really, really like about Keenan Allen. Listen, 37 targets on the year. 37 targets on the year. Incredible. Had 19 targets, 13 catches, 132 yards and a touchdown last week. Give me some of that give me some of that Sherbert Swirl. What is he called? Sherbert Swirl.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Could you
Sherbert
imagine if he had red or orange hair, he could be orange sherbet, and that would be awesome.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he's
do that.
He is that anyway. So, look again. It's gonna have you're gonna have a bumpy road here and there, even with Sherbert Swirl tossing him the rock. But at the end of the day, Keenan Allen, with him throwing the ball, I love it because he seems to really have a lot of trust in Keenan Allen, and I like that. Also, he's throwing Keenan Allen open. There's a difference. Keenan Allen seems to be able to be in a better position when he's throwing him the ball. Tyrod Taylor apparently was injured week 1. I don't know. He's got stabbed by his doctor week 2. I don't know. All I know is give me some of that orange swirl.
Yeah, you missed a really good opportunity to say rocky road instead of a bumpy road, and we could have just continued talking about ice cream. For this entire thing, so that'd have been nice. But yeah, I want the team to stick with Justin Herbert. The guy's colder than a Cold Stone Creamery out there, just continuing to just.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'll keep going. I like him. I like the connection with Keenan Allen. I hope they stick with him. I'm keeping Keenan Allen just because he's a veteran and he has shown that he can continue to put this production forward with Phillip Rivers at quarterback. So Herbert can continue to be like this, and I like he.
My only concern is with the usage. He doesn't split his banana.
Scoop him on up while you can.
Yes.
All right. We're going to move on out of this. We're tossing this ice cream in the trash.
Please.
Freezer burnt. So let's get into our next segment. Love, like, hate. I don't know why I wrote bingo here, but bingo. My notes. The worst in the world. All right. Let's talk about love, like, hates. We're going to get into the quarterbacks. And let's start it off here with
wait, hold on.
Quarterback, love for the week.
Hold on. Are we not? Do we not? You're not gonna hit. You're not hitting the drop on this.
Oh. Well, I don't have a drop.
Yes, you do. It's a standard drop.
Oh.
Weekly drop for
I
start
just have
sit.
this right here.
Oh man, unbelievable. Where's Franklin when you need him?
Franklin's took the day off.
Yeah,
Clearly.
apparently. So, all right, whatever.
Are you
What? I'm done. I'm done with it.
not done?
You're supposed to start, bro.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, my bad.
Oh,
All right.
worst.
My bad. All right. Well, I love Aaron Rodgers, not emotionally or personally, but but fantasy wise. What? It sounds even worse. God, Aaron Rodgers hit me with that beam footage. Here's what I love about Aaron Rodgers this week, specifically. One, Aaron Rodgers is at home, and he plays best at home. All right. He tends to have huge games when he plays at home. Also, number two, they play the Atlanta Falcons, enough said, averaging 362 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's what they're averaging to opposing quarterbacks. Also averaging a 110 passer rating against opposing quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers is going to have a beast-like game. I start him across all formats, 100%. Bingo.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to talk about who I like now.
Glove.
So not so much love, but this guy I really like this week, and I hate to say it because I'm playing against him, and that is Joe Burrow going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, he's getting better every week. He's learning the offense more and more. He's looking more comfortable in the NFL, and I like Mr. Peaky Burrow himself there in the place.
The place. Can you get me out of this view? Why am I still in the big position?
We like seeing your
Push- I don't want to be in that position. Just put it on the split screen, for God's sakes. Worst producer ever.
Burrow, should be a good week for him. Just threw that in there. I forgot it was in there. I'm doing terrible this week. Thank you, Franklin. You're never getting a day off again. Terrible job.
Franklin.
I like Joe Burrow. I've said it a million times. Let's get on to Zach. Zach.
So, Brian, you don't emotionally or physically or whatever love Aaron Rodgers. The quarterback in my hate is somebody that I hate emotionally and physically and fantasy wise, and it's Phillip Rivers.
Hey.
Thank you. I'm not sure if people who thought that he'd be revitalized by moving to the Colts watched him last year, but he wasn't great, and he's looking that way again. He has just as many interceptions as touchdowns right now. No weeks with multiple touchdowns yet, and he's played some really bad defenses. Colts are a team that have a really good running back and a really good offensive line. And that running game is going to be their backbone. And on top of that, their defense is looking legit. I think that's going to enable them to keep doing that run game. And now Rivers draws Chicago, who yeah, they haven't been great against the run, but they have looked like a pretty decent defense at the least. I don't like Rivers this week or for the rest of the season for that matter. Get him off your teams.
Period. Get him out of here. Fire him. All right. What about running backs? So, Zach, who do you like at running back specifically this week?
I'm going to tell you who I love at running back, actually. Thank you. I was kind of torn on who to choose for this, actually. You could have gone with somebody easy like Alvin Kamara. That's too easy. He's the number one running back on the season so far. Somebody who we talked about earlier who has my heart, James Robinson. Or I could have talked about the guy that I just traded away to you today in Kareem. Did I just stutter really bad? Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, thank you. I just traded Kareem Hunt to you, so I'm not going to talk about him. I am going to talk about James Conner right now and why I love him. After week 1, where Tomlin was upset with him because he got hurt and people thought Benny Snell was going to be a thing, what has James Conner done since then? He's only rushed or touched the ball 40 times for 270 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is a system. Yeah, this is a system that relies on one running back to carry most of the load. And James Conner is a really good running back when he's not hurt. It looks like the Steelers are back to being a pretty high octane offense, and that defense is looking legit too, which, like I said, with the Colts enables that run game to open up. I love James Conner, and he draws the Titans this week, which just got torched by Dalvin Cook. Start him as long as this COVID thing doesn't take off and they actually play.
Brian.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
Period.
You're the worst.
Look, so I'm with you on James Conner. I think he's going to be a beast. So let me go through the guy that I like. So I really like David Johnson this week, mainly because I think a lot of people are going to be pivoting too early on this guy. Yeah, I get it. Back-to-back weeks, rough output. I can't speak English, but at the end of the day, it was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens he just ran against. No one's doing well. The Ravens haven't allowed a single touchdown to a running back on the season still to this point. So, and they also have not allowed a 100-yard rusher yet this year. So I'm going to give David Johnson a pass on the last 2 weeks. Here's the deal. Versus Minnesota, Minnesota's averaging 136 yards per game to opposing running backs. They've given up 4 touchdowns on the season to opposing running backs, averaging 23 fantasy points to opposing running backs. Give me some David Johnson this week. I'm all in on that. I like him a lot this week.
That's pretty good. I'll tell you who I don't like. In fact, who I hate. And that is Leonard Fournette, Leo himself there in Tampa Bay, going against the LA Chargers. Me no likey, Leonard Fournette. Yeah, I liked him before the year started in Jacksonville. Now that he's with Tampa Bay, is a nightmare situation. Him with Ronald Jones, confusion all around. Team doesn't want to run the ball, really. They just want to pass the ball 73 million times, apparently. I don't like Leonard Fournette, not just this week, but I don't like him for the rest of the season. I'm not a big fan. So Chargers are a good defense. They have been all season. They've been good against the run. It's going to continue against this game, and I'm fading Leonard Fournette wherever I have him.
What about Ronald Jones? How you feeling about that cat?
I don't like him either.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. However, I do like him better than, say, other people.
Oh, you mean one person in particular?
Yes, I do. And I don't know if he listens, but he knows who I'm talking about.
They're like running backs 51 and 52 for this week.
It's one heck of an argument. So I don't know why we even bet on it. So anyway, yeah.
That's the word. All right, let's get into wide receivers. I'll start it off with my
love.
And that is any wide receiver that is on the Seattle Seahawks named Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf. I love both of them. They're going against Miami, and they are going to destroy. DK Metcalf was 1 yard away and one stupidity moment of his life away from having probably the best week at wide receiver other than Tyler Lockett. They letting Russ cook. They talked about it all offseason. They were saying, I don't know if I 100% believed it, but I wanted to believe in DK Metcalf because I know he's a beast. He was like my favorite player this whole offseason. And I still believed in Tyler Lockett on top of it all. So seeing Russell Wilson throw like he is right now makes me believe in both of these wide receivers year long. It's just like the Mike Evans and Chris Godwin of last year. Like that's what I'm seeing out of these two. This is the best receiving core in the league in my eyes, and there's no beating it. So I love seeing those guys, and I'd like to see what they do against Miami because it's going to be a fun show. And Zach, I hope you're prepared for DK Metcalf to destroy you. So that'll be really fun.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like really quick though, I don't know why, but I feel like this is a trap game for them. I just have like this weird feeling they're going to go down to Miami thinking they're going to just roll right over this team. And this is, they just shut down the shoe, dude. All right. So I don't know why, but I just feel I have like this weird gut feeling. It's a gut feeling. You ever get those gut feelings? Like you just ate like a lot of spicy food and then like some cheesecake. Like that's the feeling I've got right now with this matchup.
Yeah, I think everybody gets those.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it's mainly a bad feeling because, like it's just a bad take.
It was a take. It was a feeling.
Russ is on pace for something stupid like 78 passing touchdowns, so it's got to come down at some point. I just don't think against Miami is the point.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. For my I love that drop. I'm actually going on the other side of the ball. And it's because of Seattle's offense and defense, actually. I'm going to choose Devontae Parker for my It's looking kind of like that fifth-year breakout that he had is more kind of like a one-hit wonder. He hasn't been terrible. 14 receptions for like 160 or 170 yards or something and a touchdown. But he's also faced New England and Buffalo and had good coverage against him. So I'm finding myself going more like, okay with Devontae than going, ooh, that was supposed to be an excited one, but it kind of came out like a ghost.
It did come very ghosty.
Like a woo, yeah. Okay, I'm not finding myself doing that. But now he gets Seattle, who has a really good offense, and their defense is looking terrible. So maybe he'll get on with his breakout.
There's a guy I don't like. Okay.
Guess you not like him, or
no, I was going into my guy, but just never mind. You're the worst.
You said don't like. It's clearly hate.
Keenan Allen. Yeah, I was worst, dude. Keenan Allen at Tampa Bay. This is one of those games, like I said, that you could easily see him not do well. I think he's going to do okay. I just don't think it's going to be what he's been doing these last 2 weeks. He's probably going to have the targets, and that's why he maybe salvages the week and has a okay stat week, but I just don't think it's going to be anything all that great. I think this is more of a temper expectations rather than a hate. But, Tampa Bay has, allowed 2 total touchdowns to wide receivers year to date. I don't know if Allen's going to get one this week. I just don't. I think there are better options out there you might want to consider, but at the end of the day, Keenan Allen's getting the volume and the targets that could end up giving him the half-point PPR or full PPR points that actually end up giving him a okay week. So I don't see Keenan Allen as a wide receiver 1 or even a solid wide receiver 2. I see him as a low-end wide receiver 2 this week.
Sounds like you didn't go by the rules and give us a
Well, I looked at him and I started statting him out, and then I was like, I don't know. He might get the targets, and that might actually give him a decent week. So it just depends on the format. I hate him in standard. Absolutely. I do absolutely hate him in standard. In half-point PPR, okay. Man, I'm not all that hot. And then full point PPR, he's maybe okay.
I think
You're
it's fair.
not talking anymore.
I'll do it. I'll do what I want.
Zach.
Yes.
end.
Tight ends.
Chad is terrible, dude. I'm sorry. I mean,
I love it.
Just
I
not
love
hitting
it.
drops doesn't give anybody any kind of a head start. Just expect that you know what you're supposed to do. Damn it.
I love it. And not as much as I love tight ends. If you ask anybody in my home league, I am the tight end guy. We play our home league in a format where, all right, gather here. We play in a format where you don't have to start tight ends. It's 3 positions or 3 slots where it's a wide receiver or a tight end. But I've always rostered a few tight ends because I do like them. Last year I had Mark Andrews and Darren Waller on my championship run. And this year I got the guy that I love, not even just for this week, but for the rest of the season. And that's Jonnu Smith. He had a few instances last year where he looked like an absolute freak. If I remember right, he had like a 70 or 80 yard rush. What tight end does that? And he's looked pretty dang good so far this year. 13 receptions for 181 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's probably been helped by AJ Brown being sidelined for a while. But I think Tannehill has a lot of trust in him and knows that he can break off these big plays whenever. Like I said about Mo Alley Cox earlier, athletic tight ends find a way, and Jonnu is about as athletic as they come. I think he slots into an auto start on most of my rosters.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Continuing on with athletic tight ends, Noah Fant against New York Jets. That is my like for the week. And God, that's the word.
We're gonna need to talk after the show.
New York Jets defense is terrible. They're especially terrible against tight ends. Noah Fant has been just showing that he is the only guy I want on that offense right now. Jerry Jeudy's going to take some time, I think, to kind of get acclimated. It's not going to be with Jeff Driscoll or Blake Bortles or any of these other guys. Noah Fant is the guy who knows the offense. He knows what's going on there. And I am a fan of Noah Fant in Denver, especially this week against the Jets.
Yeah, Chad. And I drew the hate this week for tight end. Apparently my name is Dum Dum. Thank you. But Hayden Hurst. Look, I'm with you guys on the athleticism. I just don't like the matchup at Green Bay. Not a lot of people do well up there in Lambeau. I don't think the Falcons are going to do well. I think Green Bay is going to put it on them. Not only that, but Green Bay has been pretty good against tight ends so far this year. They've only allowed, I think it's 4 touchdowns on the year, and 2 of those were to Jimmy Graham last week. And I look at that as kind of a fluke situation. So also you look at the possibility of Julio Jones returning this week, and that takes away targets from him. I'm just not a big fan of Hayden Hurst this week. I think there are going to be matchups where he is a definite start, but I'm not going to do anything this week. So not in love with the Hurst of Hayden.
Yeah. Some would say that you haten the Hurst. What?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Let's move on.
Yep.
BroMob, let's talk about our streamers for week 4. Should be a good one.
This week's streamers.
All right. Brian, let's start it off with you.
Yes.
Quarterback and defensive streams of the week. Hit us.
So I just realized we need like a car horn, like for this guy for a drop. But Derek Carr, he is at home against beep beep. I want like one of those like old like those old Ford like back in the day. Oh, great. So Derek Carr, quarterback against of the Las Vegas, the Vaders. Vegas, Las Vegas Raiders, Vegas hashtag. Against the Buffalo Bills. They're at home in Las Vegas in that awesome stadium. Only 17.6% owned in ESPN leagues, BroMob. So he's out there. Average. So the Bills defense has averaged 288 yards passing and 2 touchdowns to opposing quarterbacks so far this year. Better yet, if you look at the last 2 weeks against actual competent good quarterbacks or halfway decent quarterbacks, 328 yards and 2 touchdowns, Ryan Fitzpatrick, 321 yards, 2 touchdowns, Jared Goff. I think this is a good matchup. Buffalo's going to put points on the board. They're going to need to throw the ball. Derek Carr could ease, we look for 250 and 2 touchdowns. I think Carr's going to be a lock for that. Look, at the end of the day, week 1, they played the Jets, and that was the 1 touchdown game. And even then, more than 250 yards passing. Derek Carr is a better quarterback than everybody, less Jared Goff on this list. So I'll take 250 and 2 from Carr this week as a streamer. And then at defense, yep, I'm on it. So at defense. Why did I do that? This is a really good pick, guys. I'm really proud of this pick. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you this right now. This is a really good. Mob, you need to do this. All right, Rams defense. First of all, why are they only owned in 28% of ESPN leagues? How dare you? Okay, that's
clue.
Absolute shame. Here's the deal. Rams defense has held Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott to under 275 yards passing and a total between the two of them of 1 touchdown. 1. Carson Wentz had no passing touchdowns against this defense. Josh Allen lit them up for 311 yards and 4 touchdowns, but that's Josh Allen. He is on a tear this year. I think this is a game where it goes back the other way because they're playing the one and only terrible Danny Icy Jones. What? The team has 3 interceptions on the year. Daniel Jones has thrown 4 interceptions on the year, and he has also been sacked 9 times. This Rams defense is going to pin their ears back and just Daniel Jones is going to have a nightmare of a game, I think. So I think Rams defense this week going to be a high scoring defense. Again, I want to reiterate this, 28% owned in ESPN leagues. So they're out there. Go grab them.
I really like the Rams call, and they definitely would have been my pick if I knew it was just 28% owned. They have one of the best defensive players in the NFL, if not the best defensive player in the NFL. They're going to go lights out.
Absolutely.
Zach, you got a QB in defense.
So I mentioned that I love the Rams call. I really don't love my call, but I'm going to throw it out there because you can start either of these teams, and it's the Thursday night matchup of the Jets and Denver. Jets are owned in 2.3% of the leagues, rostered in 2.3%, and Denver is at 38.7%. Fact of the matter is both of the offenses are not good. Denver just started somebody called Brett Ripon, right? Yep. And they're starting him again this week, I believe. So Jets have actually, if there's one bright spot on that team, it's their defense. Yeah, they lost Jamal Adams, but they finished as the number 7 defense last year, I believe. And they've done fairly decent. They got 9 points against the Bills, 4 against the Niners, and then we can just forget about the Colts last week. But I think I'd be okay with starting the Jets. I'd bank on them getting a few turnovers against that Brett Ripon guy. And same with Denver. They're going against an Adam Gase offense. That's all you need to know.
The Jets, I feel like, I think Jets fans are praying that the Broncos womp them so that Adam Gase is fired after this week. Because I literally think if they go to Denver and get smoked, their Gase is done.
Could you imagine if they put Blake Bortles in there?
Do it.
Smoke
Do it.
on the sideline. Just have
You know what? I actually don't want Blake Bortles to go in because if he's gonna go in, he's just gonna sling it and he's gonna somehow just tear the Jets apart. So that would really ruin my call. So no, Blake Bortles, no.
Led the league in pick sixes every year that he was a starter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I would love
yes, Bortles, yeah.
Go Broncos.
Who you got at QB, Zach?
I got so let me tell you the last three quarterbacks to play Seattle. Matt Ryan, 25 points. Cam Newton, 36 points. Dak, 35 points. Now they're a little bit better than my QB stream of the week. Their offenses are a little bit better than the Dolphins' offense, but Ryan Fitzpatrick is owned in 8% of leagues, and he's been pretty good so far. Like I said, Miami's offense is nowhere near Falcons, Patriots, or Cowboys right now. But the combination of Seattle's seemingly unstoppable offense and their so far horrendous defense, I'm willing to take the shot on Fitzpatrick, who he just does this dance where he has a really good rookie quarterback behind him. So he just says, whatever, let's go, and just slings the football around, put up a good number against the Bills in week 2, 328 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. And then he kind of got game scripted out at Jacksonville, throwing only 20 times, but still had 2 touchdowns and rushed one in. I'd take the bet and stream him this week.
But do those other guys have better chest hair? That's the question.
Absolutely not.
No, they do not.
No. Or facial hair. My QB, however, has the worst facial hair. And that is Baker Mayfield of the Cleveland Browns with his weird mustache that he has. Going up against Dallas. Look, this defense doesn't know how to block a block of cheddar. What? I don't know where I'm going with this. Only rostered in 24.1% of ESPN leagues, and I'm liking what I'm seeing there. Baker kind of showed in week 2, he's showing some poise, and he's showing that he could be a good quarterback and could be good in fantasy for you. I like OBJ. I like Jarvis Landry there. I like Austin Hooper. I wish they'd use him a little bit more. And those running backs keep it to where defenses have to play up, allow the play action to happen, and those deep plays to happen. So, and Dallas is clueless against anything that's happening. So Baker Mayfield, I like him a lot this week. For defense, I've got a little bit more rostered than everybody else, but I've got the Cardinals against Carolina. Look, I'm playing anybody that plays Carolina all day long. I love it. The only reason the Chargers didn't do, I would call it well against them, was because of Josh Kelly fumbling the ball and giving them the ball pretty much in scoring position right away. So that kind of hurt their chances of even having a productive defensive week right there. So I like the Cardinals. Kyler Murray just got done throwing 3 interceptions. That ain't going to happen again. It's going to be a much more efficient game. I think they're going to try and control the game a little bit more on the ground with Kenyon Drake. They're only rostered in 46.3% of leagues, and if you can get them, I'd go grab them and play them. They might even be the best defense of the week.
That's not a bad play.
So. All right, BroMob. That's going to be it for this week's show. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday to stay up to date on the fantasy football world and to gather any insights on how to dominate your fantasy football league.
That's right, BroMob. And make sure you head over to jointhebromob.com we will give you direct guaranteed start sit advice over there. We get a lot of questions on TikTok and on Twitter and Instagram about who to start, who to sit, about different players. And we try our best to get to all of you, but sometimes we just can't. If you want direct guaranteed start sit advice, head over to jointhebromob.com. I believe it is 2 doll hairs. 2 hairs of 1 doll, and that will get you. And by doll hairs, I mean currency of doll hairs. You know what I'm talking about.
Currency of dollars. Before we end the show, I want to thank our guest, Zach. Thank you for joining. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. It's been great. We'd love to have you back again in the future and have some fun here.
Anytime, boys. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Glad I could be a part of it.
Yep. All right. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FF Bros Podcast, and be sure to check out our website, thefantasyfootballbros.com, for all kinds of news, articles, and so much more. We will see you next week, BroMob.
Bye, everybody.